Welcome to Sunstone's Couch with Counselors. Today we have Elizabeth Moyer, who is a resident in counseling. Thank you for being with us today. Just wanted to spend some time getting to know you a little bit. I know that we as therapists, we work with all different kinds of populations. And I'm curious, for you, what's the population that you prefer to work with?
Yeah, so thanks for having me. This is so fun. I work a lot with adolescents and young adults, both male and female. Typically work with teens, 13 to 14, up through 20s and 30s. It's a population that is really fun for me. I love helping teens figure out how to process their emotions, how to navigate social challenges, how to just gain better coping skills. And for young adults, for millennials, 20s and 30s, a lot of those same kind of things pop up, but it's just in a different stage of life, and it's really fun for me to work with them.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's a population that can really benefit from the services that we provide. And as you work with teens and adolescents, what would you say is like your preferred style of therapy? Like what would a client expect coming in to see you?
Yeah, great question. I think this can apply for both teens and young adults. People come to therapy for usually a couple of reasons. They're looking for a safe place, and they're looking to achieve goals or to grow in a certain way. And I like therapy to be practical and tangible in many ways. Sometimes it's just helpful to talk, and I'm here to listen if that's the case. And then sometimes it's helpful to actually have homework or try something different.
Sure.
So one of my goals as a therapist is that every time a client comes into a room, in this case a virtual room,
Right.
that they're leaving taking something away, whether that's an insight or a question to think about before a next session, or maybe it's a breathing technique or a coping strategy that we haven't tried yet. So what clients can expect is that our time is confidential, it's safe, they can talk about whatever they want, and it's going to be tangible and practical, something that they can apply to their lives, because we're meeting for maybe an hour a week.
Sure.
Well, most of their life is happening outside of that room, so I want them
Yeah.
to be able to take whatever we're talking about and really apply it to their life.
Yeah. I think it's like a common misconception in therapy. They think that all the change happens in the therapy room, when it actually happens the other 6 days of the week, that they're out there living life and trying. And so having homework assignments and things like that seems like a really good way to help, especially with adolescents and teens, to kind of apply and then come back and report on how it went and such.
Absolutely.
And in like today's world, like I know that there is still like this stigma around therapy. You know, some people still aren't super open to talk about it, but I think that's slowly changing with the climate that we have. I'm wondering if you could talk to a prospective client about how to like normalize therapy, what would you say to them?
Yeah, great question. I think there is a lot of stigma around therapy. We don't like to talk about it. We don't talk about our therapist like we do our dentist. I think to normalize it, I personally believe we could all benefit from therapy at some point in our lives. There's nothing wrong with wanting an outside perspective or an impartial party, a third person, to weigh in on a situation or to help us think through a challenge that we're going through. So thinking about it as, hey, I'm going to talk to someone to give me another perspective or to help me see, to shine a mirror in places that I can't see myself. You know, we don't have a 360-degree perspective on our lives. We can only see what we can see.
Pretty much right in front of us.
Exactly. I look at my job as a way to help reflect them, see things that they can't. And sometimes I use the analogy of a toolbox. You know, therapy is kind of like adding tools to your toolbox. We don't enter into this life with an instruction manual.
So true.
If we wouldn't have a job if that was the case.
I know, right? We would be clean out of a job, yeah.
But therapy is an opportunity to add tools to your toolbox to navigate whatever it is that's coming up. And that's totally normal, right? Like we're not born with all the answers or all the skills, and it's okay to seek those out in a really intentional way, to have someone help you add the right tools and understand how to use them, how to deploy them when you need them.
Sure, I really like that. I like what you said about being a mirror, because I think it's very true. When clients come to see us, sometimes we reflect their problems back to them, and either they look at them a different way, or they're like, wow, this actually might not be that big of a deal, or here's an easy way to approach it. And so kind of in closing, what I'm kind of wondering, if you could think of one thing to kind of tell your clients how to cope with life's stresses and anxieties that we're facing today, one, maybe two things, what would you say?
So I think one of the things that comes up most often in most of my sessions is paying attention and being mindful. And it's amazing how we go through our life every day and we're not actually paying attention to what we're thinking or what we're feeling or what we're doing. And there's a huge opportunity for us to go about find a different way if we're paying attention to what we're doing. I think it's an amazing tool that we can use if we have the awareness and we start understanding where we're coming from or what our patterns and habits are. Then we have a huge opportunity to change them. So I think that can be a huge tool. Some of what we talk about in therapy is what do you do with that mindfulness or paying attention? Sure. What do you do with what you notice? And that's where the hard work begins. But paying attention is an awesome tool. It's a important building block to realizing the change that you want to see.
Gotcha. So kind of like count your victories before you count your failures and kind of pay attention to what's going on around you. I like that.
Yeah,
cool.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for being here. It was great getting to know you, just kind of get to know your approach and how you work with clients.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
No problem.